What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Star Wars Exchange. It's been a minute. It's been about 18 months, and well, we're back in person again. Mike's down here in Australia. We're having a good time, and we thought it's time to do another exchange pod. There's been a fair bit come out since the last time we've talked, and/or season 2, of course, mainly. There's a bit coming up in the future, so let's talk about it. But first of all, Mike, how you going, pal?
Hey man, it's and hello to everyone. It's been a really long time since we've done this, and the last podcast we did was an in-person one, or at least the last one we uploaded on the YouTube channel was an in-person one. So it's we couldn't miss the opportunity to do so. So Australia is great. If you're an American, you should definitely come down and spend some time over here. It's been an amazing experience. It's just surreal. Ari's gotten to see a lot of my life and what I do day to day. Now I've jumped in his pod racer and just been navigating all over the Australian deserts, and no, I'm just kidding, not the deserts, but just everything that has to do with Australia we've been doing. So it's been really, really thrilling and just really life changing. It just really opens up your galaxy.
Yeah. There you go. That's a pretty glowing review of the country. Give us your highlights so far. Then I'm sure people are interested.
Australian football,
Hell yeah.
the meat pies, sausage rolls, because the beef here, like you guys have like lamb in it, which I think is interesting. There's like a flavor in there that just kind of gives a extra bit of spice. And
Sorry to all the vegetarians out there.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, but no, I mean it's really great. The food here is great. It's not as greasy as in the States, so it's been doing my stomach good. But there's been tons of highlights. Just have we done anything Star Wars here?
Honestly, not really, no. Well, there was this Lego Star Wars exhibition that was on, but it shut like a few days before you got here. But before we get into it, of course, this podcast is brought to you by Star Wars Sanctuary, a Bad Batch novel. So shout out to Random House Worlds and Del Rey, or formerly Del Rey, for sending these out. Mike, you're about halfway through into it. How is it going so far?
Oh yeah, I started reading. I got the book days before I was supposed to come over here, and I started reading it. And funny enough, at the beginning of the year when this novel was announced, listen, to Ari and I, Star Wars animation is like a big piece of cake in our Star Wars love, right? We both entered the Star Wars fandom really through, I mean, the movies, but then the animation like really picked it up for us in a lot of ways, like Rebels, Clone Wars. So Bad Batch came out. We reviewed it, at least seasons 2 and 3, or a bit of season 2. But I just, for me, I really like the show. Is it up there with Clone Wars and Rebels? Not for me right now, but I really do like the show. Star Wars animation is something special. So at the beginning of the year, the novel was announced, and I was like, I should rewatch Clone Wars. And then up to that, I should rewatch the Bad Batch. Because there's Bad Batch is like a continuation of the Clone Wars. So I was like, I should do a Clone Wars marathon. Did that, and then I synced it up to the release of Revenge of the Sith, which was great. It was like I watched the first Mandalore episode, Siege of Mandalore, right when Rex and Ahsoka take off to fight Maul, and meanwhile Anakin and Obi-Wan go to Coruscant. As soon as I watched the episode, I literally got up and went to the theaters and watched the Revenge of the Sith screening in theaters. Absolute spectacular experience. Like, it was just one of the best fan experiences I've had. So then with that, after the high that I hit with Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, got into Bad Batch and this novel. So finally, to answer your question, this novel's great. This novel's great. It's a great pairing companion with the Bad Batch. This takes place right after the earthquake on Pabu, and then you got the Bad Batch members going out and trying to seek relief supplies, getting money to help the citizens of Pabu recover from the devastating quake. So you kind of see them do different side missions that don't go exactly as they plan. But the novel, the author captures exactly how the characters sound and feel. Like, if you're more of like it just gives you, Omega's the like sweet, endearing one that's like, no matter what kind of a day you're having, Omega would be like, everybody can crap on Hunters. Let's say he wants to wear a scarf for the day. Or Wrecker, let's go with Wrecker, wants to wear a scarf today. And everybody craps on him. Oh, I don't like that. You look kind of dorky. Or Echo, or Tech would say something very snarky to him, to Wrecker. And Omega would just come up and she'd be like, I like your hunt. I like your scarf, Hunter. Or I mean, Wrecker. Like if it goes with your skin or something like that, or it goes with your eye or something. So Omega is just a star in this book, and all the Bad Batchers like the characterization is there. Like it just feels like I'm reading one of the TV scripts, like 100%. So that's what's carried me through the novel so far. Like the story's good, but like the characterization is like on point. It literally feels and sounds like the characters. So it just feels like an extended Bad Batch or like a lost episode of the Bad Batch. I would almost like, even though it's not this, I would almost compare it the way I was reading like Dark Disciple, where I was reading that stuff and it was taken dialogue from those scripts that were never produced. That's what this feels like. I'm just like, the author does a perfect job at capturing the characters, and you get a little bit more of Tech and Fee if you were into that little romance they had going on before Tech's demise. They kind of go into that a little bit. So if you're a Bad Batch fan, if you're a fan of reading fun, exciting stories, I feel like this is a novel for you. Like I said, it feels like a long lost Bad Batch episode. It's so good, and it really opens up the worldview of what we've gotten in the Bad Batch. The ISB is involved, and you get a little bit of the just a glimpse of the ISB during that time before Andor. So really, really cool stuff. Yeah, I recommend.
For sure. Yeah, no, keen to get stuck into that one. But Mike, before we discuss Star Wars, the state of Star Wars, how we're feeling about it all, give us a quick rundown. What's been going on with you these last 18 months?
Oh man, past 18 months. It's been crazy. I've been very involved in very different things. But school has obviously taken its primary focus, and that's where my attention has gone to, and it's
Teaching, of course.
teaching. Yeah, teaching. And it's just been even more fulfilling that, and you guys have probably heard me talk about it when I first started teaching the teaching path, and this past year has been one of the most fulfilling years of my life, if not the most fulfilling. It was just the work that I was doing, the places I got to see, the things I got to do, the promotions I got. Like it was just a lot on my plate, but it was all worthwhile. And then life in general, just with hanging with friends and family and all the chaos that comes with that too. And yeah, it's just been quite some time. But yeah, it was just such a major shift in my life to go down this route. But I've been loving it. I'm about to enter my third year of teaching, and it if anything makes you feel like a Jedi, it's this. It's this career. I love what I do. I love the people that are inspired by my words, and I just try to make everyone have a better day, and that's what I get paid to do. So yeah. How about you, Ari?
For sure, yeah. No, I mean, I finished my college/uni degree. If you notice the new sort of set, I guess, we're not in my previous one. I moved out of home, so got the new crib. And what else? Well, yeah, I've been also doing my own. You talked about Australian football. Been busy with some Saints TV stuff. You can see the Saints stuff in the background there. Some from recording some videos from that. So yeah, no, just been busy getting life sorted. But I guess with this podcast, to go into the Star Wars talk now, there was a bit going on. We had The Acolyte, of course, came out, which probably wasn't our favorite thing, and there was a bit of burnout from covering all the different shows and stuff like that. But let's talk about how we feel about this current state of Star Wars, because it's a seriously mixed bag for me. To go straight into it, we've had Andor season 2, which was arguably the best piece of content Disney's put out, just from a critical standpoint, in terms of the way it's been perceived from critics, online fans. It seems universally, for the most part, everyone is in love with that show, and rightfully so. We definitely are as well. And then Skeleton Crew was super fun. We've had Tales of the Underworld, which was a nice little bonus. But then we've had Ahsoka season 1, maybe didn't hit the way we would have loved for it to. While I still enjoyed that show, The Acolyte didn't hit for me. Certainly not part of that hate campaign online, but it just wasn't for me. But yeah, ultimately I'm feeling a bit so-so. The future, I went to Celebration Japan, which is a great time. I'll talk about in a bit, but seeing sort of the plan from now, the movies are starting to come back out. We're getting back into the theaters. I am interested in that, in the continuation of Ahsoka, of course, and that Mole series is looking cool. So yeah, mixed bag. But how are you feeling overall, just about everything?
Yeah, mixed bag. For me, my favorite thing with Star Wars is because people get so caught up in the stuff that's coming out, or they want to see that Marvel Studios big screen where it's the big timeline. They want to see that. They want to see what they're gonna be looking forward to, what they're gonna get fed. And I'm like, yeah, in theory, that's great. We got our own version of a timeline like that. Did any of those happen? Like only like maybe like a few of them of those projects happened. But for me, Star Wars has always been about going back and re-experiencing and reliving some of the stories that you've already endured. Like I said, I just rewatched Clone Wars. Like that has been more fulfilling in my Star Wars fan experience the past couple months than, well, actually, I mean, Andor freaking has. Andor took the cake on that. But I'm just saying, like, there's times when I'm just like, I don't get caught up in the, oh, like, this is what we need to be set on. This is, we're going to do Acolyte. We're going to release books about it. We're going to do this and that. Yeah, that's great. I always look forward to new stories and new content, if you will. But I'm always about being the Star Wars fan that I'm like, I'm going to go. And you just watched you just marathoned the movies too, where you just went back and marathoned all of them. And I'm like, that's great. We need to do that more as fans. Go back and appreciate the stories that have been. Because they very much still influence the stories that are getting told today. But with all the new overhaul of stories, yeah, Ahsoka season 1, I haven't gone back to rewatch that. I still think it's a good series, but it's not just one that's up there for me. I think they got a lot of things right, a lot of things that I'm like, that's just... this would have been better if we seen in animation, and I know we talked about that in the pod before, but it's just some of them is just very jarring where it's like, oh man, like this does not synchronize well. Acolyte had a really great start. I loved the first like 2 episodes, and then we kind of lost the plot. There's things to love from there. I love Manny, the actor Manny from that series. I think he was a star.
Manny Jacinto.
Manny Jacinto. Yeah. He was great. And it looks like he's just popping up in other movies now, and I think that's great. But yeah, he was the big takeaway from Acolyte for me, and the character that he played was so fascinating. I want to go rewatch the series just for him, and I'm not one of those people that I'm like, oh, just give me dark side characters, give me that. Like I love me a good. I mean, my favorite character is Kanan Jarrus, right? So that should tell you about me, but he just played a really convincing character, and I was just fascinated. It was almost on the intrigue level of Kylo Ren in Force Awakens, where it's like you don't know what path he's gonna be on and all that. And then what came out after Acolyte? Skeleton Crew. Oh, that was a delight. That was, listen, I had the winter blues back in the States, and that show came on, and it just felt like a good holiday season show. It felt around the Christmas time. It felt really good. Post Christmas, just getting home and watching that show. It was just a good feel show, and there was things along in there that kept you intrigued, that kept you moving, being like, oh, I can't wait for the next episode. There's probably only one episode from that season that I was just like, I don't know if I like that one. But the other ones, I just thought they were great. We got to watch some of them together. Yeah. So that was fun. And after Skeleton Crew was Underworld.
Andor came out during it.
Okay, Andor, yeah. I mean, if you probably caught my... I did a podcast with Parks, Artor, and we covered the second season as a whole, and you can see just the emotions that we were coming off from experiencing that and stuff, and we watched that... and then we would record, and it was a great experience breaking all those episodes down. So that was a cool little collab we did. So go check those out if you haven't, and to get my full thoughts on that. But I thought it was just spectacular, and I cried at the finale. Just it was just so emotional, and I just literally broke down and crying in tears. It was that emotional for me. And then Tales of the Underworld, I think is a mixed bag. There was some things that I really liked about it, and some things that I was just like, what do we got? Not every story needs to be told. I've always been a big push for that not every story has to be told. And it felt like there's some things in there that I was like, all right, we could have read this in a book or something. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like after Star Wars Underworld, we really need to do something. I don't know, just pick it up a little bit. But the Cad Bane story was really great. That was great to see, and it was compelling.
Yeah, I'd say for Tales of the Underworld, I agree. The Cad Bane stuff was cool, and that was. I mean, I'm not one of those guys who's like, oh, it's got to be dark and gritty, but I mean, that's kind of just what it was, to be honest. It was cool to see that they didn't shy away from anything. It was actually like heartbreaking, to be honest, and you didn't leave it feeling sorry for Cad Bane. You left it being like, Cad Bane, you're a total, crap bag or whatever the family friendly term is. But yeah, the Ventress ones, I felt like they were, because we haven't actually talked about it that much, like just the two of us, but the Ventress episodes were, I agree, a mixed bag, but ultimately what it felt like to me was it was just a bridge between Dark Disciple and whatever's next for her. Maybe that story didn't need to be told, but maybe it just means they can jump straight into whatever's next for her without having to go through the whole, oh, this is how it happened in Dark Disciple, whatever. I don't know why you couldn't just save that for her show, or whatever. I say her show as if that's going to be a thing, or whatever the story is going to be for her. But yeah, those were an interesting one. But I want to go back to what you said about some of the times our favorite experiences with Star Wars is just going back and revisiting some stuff that's already happened. And I definitely agree with that. As you mentioned, like, I've just gone back, rewatched all the movies. Like, that was just a great experience. I haven't done that since 2022, I think. So that was good fun. But yeah, honestly, that is where a lot of, like, for me, and I know you just said the same, that is where that personal enjoyment comes from. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of nostalgia involved with that, obviously. Maybe we're just nostalgia junkies, who knows? But no, yeah, I love doing that. And I'm definitely excited for the future of stuff. And I hope that when every time I watch Rebels, I go, oh, I hope that they continue the story in a good way. And, they've certainly started that, and it looks like they're going to go further with it. But no, I would agree with that. But let's talk about, I guess Andor is probably the absolute highlight. We can go a bit further into that. I haven't really said much about Andor besides it's hard. It's a hard show to break down because it's not your classic. So we saw these Easter eggs, but it's just not that show at all. It's just, I mean, the themes, the characters are just so strong. It's hard to say anything that hasn't already been said about this show, because it's rightfully been nominated for a lot of Emmys, which, I mean, I'm surprised it didn't get nominated for Best Series, and Diego and Genevieve O'Reilly didn't get those nominations. That feels a bit iffy, but yeah, I mean, well, I guess let's say, what was your favorite episode of season 2?
Probably have to be the Mon Mothma speech one.
Yeah.
Just because I said this on the podcast I did with Parks, but I literally was on the verge of a panic attack the entire time. I was so anxious because they built up the story so well that it felt like you were there alongside Mon Mothma and Cassian, and you were also running with them out of. That's how invested and attached I was to the screen. I was just like watching every moment. I felt if Mon Mothma was feeling joy, I was feeling joy. If she was feeling anxious, I was feeling anxious. But yeah, I literally had to pause the moment after the incident on, what was that world called that they were on? Gorman, yeah, right. I had to pause after the episode and go take like a 5-minute break, and I was like, I need to breathe here, and I don't know if I made myself tea or not, but I probably did. But I just had to take a break before I moved on. But then when I got to the next episode, which was the Mon Mothma's speech, oh my God, it's just a fantastic episode. It keeps you on the edge of the seat the entire time, and you already know from the opening titles when it's the Gorman anthem or this chant they were doing, just immediate chills. You knew what was coming next. And then the episode kind of just like falls off a little bit, but then they pick it back up with Cassian and Bix, or with Bix's message to Cassian, and it was just, oh man, it was just a very emotional end for Cassian and Bix there. But yeah, that would probably have to be my favorite episode. And I didn't honestly care if they retcon the Rebels because I was like, I want to see what Tony Gilroy wants to do. Like, I'm okay if they end up like twisting it a bit. Like, I'm used to that already in Star Wars canon, I guess. So I was okay with them twisting it a little bit or giving us a different perspective with Mon Mothma's speech in Rebels. Yeah. But the way they did it was great. I love the way they did it. It's great. They left it alone and they did their thing, and they just passed the baton off to Rebels. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I had no issues with how they handled that. And I think I gotta say I just completely agree. That episode was definitely the highlight, but of course, I don't think there was a single episode where I thought, didn't love that one. Honestly, even the ones at the start, I know people weren't loving the stuff on Yavin with those those hopeless rebels. Like, I enjoyed that too.
That was great.
But no, I mean, we were talking about this the other day, but my first experience with Tony Gilroy was watching the Bourne movies like years and years ago, and I enjoyed those movies. It was like sort of everything you see in that episode. Like you said, you were just having a panic attack the whole time. That's what it felt like watching those Bourne movies. So it reminded me of that so much. And I mean, Mon Mothma's speech, again, it's hard to say anything that hasn't already been said, but just so powerful, so moving, so unfortunately present with the times that we're what's the word I'm looking for? It's so applicable to the times that we're currently living in. So really just fantastic. But how did you feel about the 3-week or the 4-week release with the 3-episode blocks? Because personally, it was again a mixed bag for me. I know that's the buzzword of this podcast, but with the Bad Batch, remember when we were reviewing that, I was saying it's something I'd love for that show. This show is like, on one hand, I'm like, every episode is so juicy. There's so much dialogue to just sit with and think about that. It's like doing 3 at once sort of felt like, I want to stretch this out a bit. But at the same time, watching an Andor movie a week was a pretty awesome experience at the same. So how did that sit with you?
Well, it reminded me, I'm going to throw an analogy out here that some of you might get, but it reminded me when you go to a banquet hall, and some banquet halls, they have really good food. So let's say you're going for like a wedding or something, and you go to a sit-down dinner, and they have food for you, and open bar the entire night. You get there, and it's like, sometimes I want to space my food out so much. So first they start you off with super salad, and then they move into the next course, and then they give you the bigger dinner, and then they do dessert, and then it's all gone. Like, you got to eat while it's there, and they only give you like 40 minutes, and then all the plates are gone, and you can't get anything if you want. So that's what this felt like. Because I'm like, I want this spaced out. Because I'm like, this is all great. This is all great food. But at the same time, I'm just like, I kind of want some space between my meals here. So for me, there was a lot of moments that benefited from having it watched down in one sitting. There was a lot of it that I felt like, all right, that definitely felt like I could watch this in one sitting, like at least 2 of the episodes. 3, I think, was overkill. 3 was definitely overkill, but then it wouldn't make sense to release some, like, we're going to release 2 this week, 1 next week, then 2, then 1, or 1, then 2. So, I wish it was just a standard release of 1 episode per week. I know that's prolonged and people hate that now, but to me, I felt like that would have really helped us digest the story, and it would have kept the Andor conversation going even a stronger, louder, and louder everything. But yeah, so I don't know. I felt like, again, there's moments that benefited from having it be a freaking movie experience, watching like 2 movies in one sitting, but it also felt like I could have used a little breathing room, just so we can anticipate the next week and really sit with some of the things that happened. But that was not a Tony Gilroy decision. It was came down to Disney Plus and the marketing and all that. But man, I really, really wish it was 1 episode per week. And I know that's probably making you a lot of you upset or whatever. But to me, I just wanted some breathing room. But how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I was happy with it either way. Like I said, I loved watching like what felt like a movie every week. It would have been nice to have 3 months of Andor, but to be honest, wasn't fussed either way. And for some shows, I think every show is different, where I truly believe if Bad Batch had have sort of taken this same approach, the reception to that show, at least at the time, would have been a lot more positive. Because that's just sort of the nature of those animated shows. But then some people would say to that, like, what, you need to be fed like a baby, spoon-fed everything at the same time. Like, it's everyone just wants everything now. So I understand that too. But I think some shows this method works and some it doesn't. Andor was one that I thought could go either way.
It's weird because Disney Plus, to what you're saying, Disney Plus is probably the only, or at least when it comes down to Star Wars, I think is the only streaming service that works in reverse. So when you get live action shows on, well, Netflix now has been dropping things in bundles, but what what we're used to is live action shows come out once per week. And animation, when they do animation shows, like I think King of the Hill revival I saw this morning, like the whole season 1 is streaming now on Hulu. And I'm like, it's so weird that we work in reverse when it comes to Star Wars, because then we'll have a 22 episode long season, or however long Bad Batch was, 15 episodes or something, and it's like one per week. Except when it was season 3, they released like the first 3 episodes. I think they did for both seasons, but anyway. But it's like, then we get one episode per week, and then we'll get like a Rancor episode that everybody hates, and then we'll get a Fennec Shand episode that everybody's like, what the heck was that about?
Yeah.
But then when it comes to Andor, when it's like, all right, this is live action, and each episode is like 50 minutes plus, we decide to put them all out together, which makes zero sense to me, but it just feels like we're working in reverse here. So for maybe we could talk about Maul Shadow Lord coming up.
Yeah, sure.
But what do you see? Well, just, since we're on the topic of release schedules, would you want a Maul show like Shadow Lord to come out once per week, or in dropped bundles? What do you think?
Well, again, it really depends on how that show, how many episodes it's going to be, if it's going to just be the standard like 20-25 minute episodes. But again, if it's a show that runs like the Bad Batch per se, where it's not every week, isn't like a very consequential episode that adds from the next and the story builds on, and it's a bit more of like sort of like an anthology almost, like Bad Batch, even though that it had that overriding story. Some weeks you'd get something completely unrelated, which I don't have an issue with. But if it's going to be like that, I'd want to see them do it, like release it in blocks. But say it's only like a 10 episode season and it's like 30-minute episodes, that's when I'd be like, okay, I want one a week. But yeah, it really depends. But let's talk about Maul Shadow Lord then. How are you feeling about that?
Oh man, I mean, it's a show that I think a lot of fans wanted for a while now. So like I said, I was watching Clone Wars, but I also read, in that time I read Dark Disciple, listened to the audiobook, read Son of Dathomir, and I watched the Crystal Crisis reels that I have on Blu-ray that came with season 6, and I was like, oh my god, I wish this story was produced. But and then we get Maul in Solo, and you want to see more of that story of how he's involved in Crimson Dawn. And so we've been kind of waiting for a story like this.
I was just gonna say, after when rewatching all the movies and watching Solo and seeing that I watched it after the announcement had come, and I was like, wow, it really feels like this scene almost makes no sense until now, the fact that they've announced this. So yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, no, literally. So we've been waiting since like 2018 for something like this, for a Maul expanded story of him involved with the Crimson Dawn. But I love how Clone Wars, the finale and the Ahsoka arc kind of built that up, of Maul transitioning into the gangster world. Because we seen that in Clone Wars, how he's involved with the criminal element. But Clone Wars accelerated that towards the end, where you have Maul working with the Pikes, Crimson Dawn, in terms of spice trade, and then you have, or spice dealing, not even trade, and then you have Maul working with all the Mandalorians, and he's like, there's this epic scene in the Siege of Mandalore where he's talking, Dryden Voss is on call, the guy from the Black Sun is there. Pikes, you get all the criminal element, and he's just giving a speech about how they all need to go into hiding, that there's something changing, and they're gonna thrive in this environment. And you're like, I remember sitting there and being like, oh my god, wait, why would they build a Dryden Voss model, Clone Wars model? They're expensive to do.
People have been saying this since it came out.
Since it came out, since 2020. I was always one of those people. I'm like, why would they build a Dryden Voss model? And not do it, and it was a hologram. So I'm like, they did all that just for a hologram. So that led me to believe that they were gonna do more with Dryden Voss. I thought he might appear in Bad Batch, or I guess this is now a perfect opportunity. So everything that we've seen, I've seen the leaked trailer from Celebration Japan, which you could tell us about, but it was just everything that looked like I wanted. One thing though, I saw Maul fighting an Inquisitor, and I'm done with the Inquisitors. I'm done.
And it's the same Inquisitor from
Ahsoka.
Yeah. No, from or it could be, but I'm pretty sure in the room people were saying it's I think it was the 8th brother from Malachor, season 2 finale of Rebels. who he ends up killing. Because remember, he had been hunting him, and he's like, oh, I'm chasing the shadow, and all that stuff.
Because in the trailer, he looked like he had the helmet from that one Inquisitor, the first brother.
This
whatever.
just shows how involved we are these days.
Yeah, no,
maybe
really.
it's already confirmed.
Maybe it is. Who knows?
I was just gonna say though.
Yeah.
It feels like since Clone Wars ended, to me, this announcement is like, okay, so Bad Batch was the continuation of the clone story, and this is the continuation of that criminal, like that, all that story that you're talking about that was sort of teased in season 7, but was really a big player in Clone Wars from like season 3 almost onwards.
Right.
So I like that. It's like, okay, we're continuing Clone Wars, but we're not doing it in one like weird series where we follow all these random things where like they all are going on their own paths and stuff. So no, I like that. And yeah, so got to see I was there when they announced it at the 20-year anniversary, which you can see on the edge of the screen there. Got that poster, which was cool. Even picked one up for you to take home. So, that was a great panel. And then of course I'm struggling to remember, it was a few months ago, but I'm pretty sure toward the end they said, oh, we've got a new announcement. They played the trailer. Everyone was going nuts. I was maybe row 10 on the floor. That was pretty awesome. Sam Witwer comes out, says play it again. Like, it's just classic celebration memory, good times. And I'd say I don't know how. I'm sure it's leaked online. I mean, I know it has, so I'm sure people have watched it as well, but I don't know how much it shows in the leaked ones. But the animation style is quite different. It's definitely like the same as the Clone Wars one, but it's got this, again, I'm not one of those guys, but it's got like this grittier feeling. You know what I mean? So it is different. But I think it matches the aesthetic of that show really well. And even it looks like Maul's going to have an apprentice. And at first I was a bit like, okay, we've got so much Darth Maul stuff. He's in Rebels, he's in Solo, we had Clone Wars Season 7 come out. I was like, I'm not sure about this. But the more I talk about it, the more I hear about it, the more I'm feeling like it's gonna be a good show. And I'm ready for it. That comes out next year. So
yeah. And one of the exciting things to that, because I felt like that too, where I was like, another Maul thing. But again, watching Clone Wars, I was like, oh my God, Maul is just one of the most fascinating Star Wars characters. I mean, behind the scenes, because he died in 1999, and also just his story. And so, it feels like he's been like Saul Guerrero. Saul Guerrero is another one of those characters that I'm like, oh my God, please keep giving us more. Like Andor, seen him in Andor. He popped up in Fallen Order. And Rebels. And it's just been, honestly, I know people get sick of Saul, but I just love seeing a character like him. And Maul is a character, and a big character like that too, that I'm just like heavily invested in. But one of the exciting things here is that Sam Witwer is a producer on this show.
Yes, that's a great point.
And he was a very creative element. I love Star Wars because we don't just get voice actors that get paid to do their job. I mean, and as you should, do your job, get paid, and get out. But a lot of these actors are very invested in their roles, where it's like, how do you get to be a creative consultant for your character? Like that's awesome. And he got promoted to freaking producer on the show. So I'm just like, that is awesome. And we all love Sam Witwer and everything, and he's a great actor, great personality in the Star Wars community. And he said he gave a lot of notes for this show. And he said that that everything that we've seen of Maul so far is just barely scratching the surface of his character, and that we're gonna get the full heavy plate in this show. So I'm just like all hands in. Like, I'm excited that this is gonna be great.
And I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, we need Dave Filoni to run Lucasfilm because he's a big Star Wars fan. Like, that's not why he gets on. But it does help that Sam Witwer happens to be a mega Star Wars fan. And it's not even just that, oh, he knows all these little facts and Easter eggs and he's read the reference books. It's like he really gets Star Wars on a fundamental level, and you can hear him talk about it. So that's fantastic as well. Also, it's a great point about Saul Guerrero, because I was definitely one of those people that was like, why is Saul Guerrero just in everything? And it almost felt like that was the same with Maul. But like you said, all you got to do is look at Andor Season 2, and he's about 100th appearance in something, and I was like, wow, this character's never been more compelling to me. So I can certainly see this Maul having the same trajectory.
Last point on that, I also was reading, or I've been listening to the audiobook Maul Shadow Lord. Now, this is a Legends book that came out in 1990. Actually it came out in the early 2000s, right after Phantom Menace, like 2001. And it's if you go and get yourself a copy, and actually the audiobook that I'm listening to, Del Rey sent to me, Del Rey Audio. If you go and get yourself a copy, it's literally voiced by Sam Witwer. So if you need some appetizer before Maul Shadowlord, listen to this book. Like I said, it's Legends, but it's a Maul story, and it captures Maul during that time, what the kind of fans were feeling about him, and what the creatives were feeling about him, and he was just this ruthless savage monster. And it's a great Maul story that I'm reading, voiced by Maul himself. So pretty cool. If you want more like Maul stories, more Maul content, if you want to hear more of Sam Witwer's Maul before Maul Shadowlord, listen to the audiobook. It's great so far.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we sort of went over everything. We glossed over Skeleton Crew a little bit, so I guess I don't know how much you have to say about that series. To me, it's pretty much just I almost felt like a part of me was falling out of love with Star Wars, and that's not entirely blamed on the Acolyte. I just, for whatever reason, I was feeling burnt out by everything. Mandalorian Season 3 was a huge bummer to me, which was pretty well documented on this podcast. I think that's the last show we covered in full, or maybe it was Ahsoka, but yeah, Mando Season 3 was not fun for me. Oh. So Skeleton Crew comes around, I thought, great, another random Disney Plus show that, not that we didn't ask for, because the best things that we've had are things that no one really wanted, but I was just thinking, it's in the Mandoverse. It was just off-putting to me, but that show was such a wonderful surprise. Like you said, coming out around that Christmas time. I absolutely loved Jod as a character. I thought he was great. All the kids, I mean, Neil, I've got a Neil figurine in my lounge room. Like, he's just awesome. So yeah, what an awesome series. And even just the story was so compelling, but the mystery surrounding it, all the characters. I mean, again, it's been a good minute since I've watched it, but that definitely brought me back in, and it wasn't long after that, I took off to Celebration. So that definitely gave me that push of like, okay, I feel like Star Wars is sort of getting back on track. But what a wonderful surprise. What were your feelings on it?
One of the things that I thought Mandalorian did wrong is purely being inspired just by Star Wars. When season 1 felt like they were going to other sources and being inspired by that. And then season 3, we just got so tangled in our own web that we lost the plot and so Skeleton Crew was saying that Skeleton Crew felt like such a refreshing story, because it felt like it was outsourcing. It was going out to different stories and getting a lot of inspiration from that. It felt like this show came out like in the 80s. Like I was watching like Amblin Entertainment, and that was their goal, to make something like something made by Steven Spielberg in the 80s with
the
Goonies, E.T., and it completely felt like that.
Even for you, that they sort of advertised it as a Stranger Things in space, which is one of your favorite shows.
And they did, and it was great. It was a cool, really cool story with the fascinating lore with the galaxy, and I was so appreciative of, as a Star Wars fan, of this felt like we were a needle in a haystack. Like, it made the galaxy feel so big when it felt so like this after Bad Batch and Mandalorian. When after this show, I'm like, oh my god, like because if it was a Mandalorian type show, or Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, they would have been like, oh, the pirates Hondo Ohnaka. It's like, there's other great pirates that we want to hear about. I love Hondo. Like, Hondo's one of my faves, but I'm like, I want to hear more about different pirates. And the way they just capture that story, that element was fantastic. And like I said, the mystery surrounding that was great. That was great.
You're so right. Like, what a brand new mystery we've never done before, never seen thing. Just the refreshing palate cleanser that we all needed. It
was great, and I'm looking forward to season 2.
Fingers crossed that's a thing.
I'm really looking forward to a season 2 if that ends up being a thing. And the showrunner John Watts, who did the Spider-Man trilogy with Tom Holland, he was saying, no word on season 2 yet, but because he couldn't share what he knew or didn't know, but he was like, no, I can't say anything, but we do know we're on a time crunch here because the kids are young and they grow up, and we don't want it to be like Stranger Things, where like they started when they were like 7 years old, and by the time the show finishes, they're like 20 something. So they know what they're dealing with here.
But he also said that they know what they want to do for season 2. It's
Yes.
not like, oh, season 1 was a success, let's force out a season 2. They already have that story in mind.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, cancel the Mandalorian and Grogu for
Let's
Skeleton
do it.
Crew season 2. Like, I'd be so down. But that's a good avenue into sort of the future. Before we talk about it, I want to give a quick rundown of Celebration Japan, which I got to be there. Fantastic experience. Wish you could have been there too, but we'll be at the next one together for sure. It was looking like it would be a lighter news year. But we had that's the little showcase where they announced Starfighter, which we'll talk about that in a sec. I got to see a trailer for Mandalorian and Grogu, which honestly, my excitement for that movie could not have been less. Like, as I said, hated season 3 of The Mandalorian, but that trailer did look really good. And I'm excited for Jon Favreau to direct the movie because that's sort of almost what, in his skill set, I've noticed that he's probably best at. So that got me really excited for that. Got to watch Andor season 2, the first episode early in a big crowd, which was awesome. People were just loving it. And from that moment, I just knew that was that season was going to be something special. What else do we have? So Star Wars Visions panel, which was cool, season 3, and all the Visions Present stuff was cool. Again, that's something for me where I'm like, I just watch it once, enjoy it, I'm like, cool, and walk off, but I'm glad it exists. I know a lot of people really enjoy that stuff. What else? We had the 20th anniversary of animation panel, which I talked about, which was great fun. Got to actually watch that first episode early with the Ventress one, and I got to say, in the room when people were reacting and starting to realize that first scene was straight up from Dark Disciple, people were going nuts for that. Everyone was loving to see that. What else? Am I missing anything? Was there some other stuff, other news stuff at least that happened? Ahsoka season 2. There was a panel for that. That was I actually haven't gone back to watch any of them, so I'm not sure what was streamed and what wasn't. But that was a fun panel. Hayden Christensen is just famous now for his Star Wars Celebration appearances because every time he comes out on stage, he just gets the biggest ovation, as he should. And obviously announced he was coming back, which is a cool surprise. Definitely something I'm on board with. But yeah, ultimately, if anyone was there, Star Wars Celebration is just the best comic / geeky fan event in the world, hands down. That was just my second one, but can't wait to get down to LA for the 50th anniversary. But I really should have done some sort of note taking or something during the event to document my experience, because obviously it's hard to remember it all now. But went with my brother. We had a really, really great time. Got this T-shirt. We were exploring Japan 2 weeks before, which was a lot of fun. And then we went into the convention. I was like, oh, it just feels like I'm in America again, because probably 80% of the people there had traveled from the States, and then obviously there was some locals and then some people from Oz and Europe like myself. So just a great event. And I know a lot of people had sort of some iffy experiences waiting in line, missing out on panels, all that sort of stuff. The unfortunate reality of Celebration is that it's so hard to do everything. You're going to miss out on some stuff, but the things that you do, make sure you do that well, you do that fun. Got this Andor poster, got the Revenge of the Sith one down there, so great time. And it's a good segue as well into talking about the future. I want to talk about The Mandalorian, Grogu, and Starfighter, because as we talked about, I've just finished rewatching all the theatrical movies, and as much as some of the Disney Plus shows have been great, Andor, Skeleton Crew, first couple seasons of Mando, I think we've been missing Star Wars on the big screen at the theater. And I'm not thrilled that Mando and Grogu is going to be the first one back, like the big, we're back in theaters and it's Mandalorian season 4, but a movie.
Right.
However, it feels good knowing this time next year there'll be another Star Wars movie out. How are you feeling? Let's talk Mando and Grogu. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, like you, my expectations and my excitement level were like second to none. Like it was just, or I should say, like they were just flat. It was nothing there. And then, as Ari said, after season 3, it was like all my excitement for anything Mandalorian and Grogu was just out the window. Actually, it started with Book of Boba Fett, but Mandalorian kind of built that up at the beginning, where I was like, all right, I'm back in, and then it just dropped me off real quick. But with the leaked trailer that I saw, I was like, oh my god, this looks fun. It looks fun. It looks exciting. It looks like a little action movie. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of looking forward to this now. But yeah, like the trailer made me kind of raise my hopes up a little bit, because it felt like a return to kind of the Mandalorian that we saw in seasons 1 and 2 a little bit. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's like you said, I'm not thrilled that this is the first Star Wars movie coming out of the gate in so many years, but I'm like, all right, well, The Mandalorian was a big show, streaming wise, and I mean, season 1 just did numbers, and oh no, season 2 did numbers. There's a bit of drop off with season 3 because but season 2 did.
Why would that be?
I don't know. I have no idea. But season 3, killed the hype. But season 2, like, let's not forget, that it was just like the online community was ablaze every episode, and season 1 the world was ablaze with Grogu and Mando, and you couldn't run into a store without seeing a Baby Yoda. Yeah. So I mean, this is gonna be, I feel like, a big movie. I feel like you still see Baby Yoda everywhere. Every time I walk into a classroom at my school, a kid has a Baby Yoda, Grogu pencil case or a folder. Like, they'll come on dress down day sometimes with like Baby Yoda shirts. So I'm like, you tell me that these kids are not excited for a Baby Yoda and Grogu movie.
But
Mandalorian
at Celebration movie as well. When there's just like the main characters that they're selling, you got Anakin and Luke and whoever. And then now it's Grogu. He's one of them as well.
He is.
He is. Whether you like that or not, that's how it is.
And you know what? It was interesting to see pop culture and just kind of normies in the world that aren't Star Wars fans react to Revenge of the Sith being in theaters. Like, there's a lot of people that went out to see Revenge of the Sith for the first time because of the release. And the release for Revenge of the Sith was the second most to make, or re-release to make the most amount of money at the box office. Second to, I think, Lion King. But yeah, like, I'm just like, that's great. Like, so there's a pulse there for Star Wars movies in the theaters. There's a pulse. What movie gets that amount of money during a re-release, especially 20 years later? So there's a pulse there. So that means, I don't know, Mandalorian and Grogu could definitely take the box office for quite some time during that time, and there might be a lot of excitement from the world if the movie's good.
Yeah,
because the movie
it's got to be good.
I really hope.
Well, supposedly Rodder the Hutt is in it.
That's right.
With played by Jeremy Allen White, I think the guy from The Bear.
And Shameless,
and he was like in like sort of the post credit of the trailer or whatever that.
Oh, that's right. Is, so. That's right. Oh, that's a little jarring, but I'm just gonna let
honestly,
them do their thing.
It kind of excites me because I'm like, that's so random, and it gets me a little nostalgic for the Clone Wars movie. So I'm like, if you do this right, it could actually be good.
And it could literally be a 10-second scene. It literally could be a 10-second scene. It could be one of those scenes like we saw in the opener for season 2 where Mandalorian and Grogu are doing an exchange with somebody for info, and then they watch a fight with Gamorrean guards. It literally could be that.
And Zeb is meant to be a main player in that movie as well. He was in the trailer. And
that's scary.
They sort of it's the handling of the live action move for Rebels has been, again, I'll say it, mixed bag. So we'll see. But at least he's actually voiced by Steve Blum.
Sure.
So that's definitely a win. But yeah, so Mando and Grogu, that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But Star Wars Starfighter, honestly, I am actually very excited for this. It's coming out on the 50th anniversary. We're going to have Celebration leading into A New Hope, the original cut of A New Hope, releasing in theaters, followed by Star Wars Starfighter. I mean, April and May next year is going to be hectic for Star Wars, so I'm super excited for it. Ryan Gosling coming out on stage, that was the most random thing. Being in the room for that was awesome. People were just kind of shocked. It just felt like, what? We're in Japan and Ryan Gosling? Like, what's going on? But I love it, to be honest. I love the casting. I love Sean Levy, I believe, is the director and the writer. So to me, this movie, it's taking place after Rise of Skywalker, which is a period of time which I want to start to explore. And I think it was right for them to take a bit of time before they jumped into that, and they sort of need a plan. But it sounds like they're set on something. They've got a story they want to tell. And I'm sure they'll adapt some stuff that was meant to be in the Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron movie for this, but I love the casting, love the director, love the writer. I'm keen as for this, and I just think everything I've heard about it gets me excited, and it just feels like there's a story to be told here, and people are definitely on board, on the same page about it, and I think it's going into production any day now. So very exciting.
Yeah, no, the Starfighter was a big surprise. I was like, well, let's do it. If we're gonna start out the gate with Mandalorian and Grogu, like, let's just do it. So yeah, when I saw that news, I got hyped too. I'm like, Sean Levy is one of my favorite directors. He directed like if you go in Stranger Things catalog and see all the episodes, like most of the best ones are directed by Sean Levy.
Did Deadpool and Wolverine as well.
Deadpool and Wolverine last summer, that was great. So yeah, I mean, and Sean Levy's responsible for that. He directed the episode where that song "Running Up the Hill" that took over a couple summers ago. So I'm just like, dude, this guy's awesome. I'm like, I can't wait to see what he does with Starfighter and Ryan Gosling too. I mean, how do we get so lucky? Like that's insane. So we might get a Academy Award winning film here with Starfighter. Who knows?
But it's important to note as well, because people might be thinking, great, another Star Wars movie announced that we'll never see.
Right.
This has casting. This has a director, and it's going into production this year. Unless something terrible happens, which, to be honest, I wouldn't rule it out from the history the last 5 years, but this movie is going to get made. I'm hyped for it. But I mean, that's pretty. We can talk about Ahsoka season 2 quickly. Obviously, the tragic passing of Ray Stevens.
Oh my God.
They've recast that character, which I think is probably the best way to handle that. Obviously, Dave Filoni spoke about this at Celebration and gave his reasons why, which I think that they all believe it's the right thing. They've consulted with the family and everything like that. So there's that. Hayden Christensen will be coming back. We just saw a picture of Ezra the other day, in a like a X-wing suit almost. But I'm actually pretty excited for this, because there was some stuff in Ahsoka season 1 I didn't love, but sort of the overriding story and the way they left things definitely left me wanting more. How are you feeling?
Yeah, season 2. Looking forward to all the things that looks like they're going to be picking up from season 1. Yeah, season 1 was just, it felt I don't know, like I like the way the finale ended, and it just
me too. Yeah,
I really like how the finale ended, and I got emotional with Ahsoka and Sabine being parted ways from Ezra. But it was a little bit aggravating, because it's like the entire time for the past years, since 2018, since the finale of Rebels, we were like, what happens, and they get together for like a split second, and then now they're like on opposite sides. So they pulled Ezra back into existence, and then they went into so I'm like, what happens there? I'm curious, but yeah, but the ending scene with Anakin, I was like, oh man, it was just very heartfelt, and it felt like the Ahsoka character at the beginning of the show. I was like, oh my God, she's so dry, she's so. But I was always in the camp of, hey, like, guys, we never really seen the Ahsoka after the post-fight with Vader. Like, we never saw that Ahsoka. We don't know how it changed her. I mean, that's a big moment for her when she finally accepted that Anakin was Vader. What does that do to you? They were best friends. They were, like, that was her older brother. Like, what happens? So, it was great to see a moment in the Ahsoka season 1 season of her getting pulled out of that depression she was in almost. And she even changed her whole tunic and everything, and she was this glowing white Ahsoka, the Gandalf Ahsoka. So oh man, it was that was really moving. So I'm excited to see what they do with season 2, seeing how Hayden Christensen's involved. Are we going back to the world between worlds, or what are we doing?
Seems like we are.
So I'm very interested.
Akbar versus Thrawn as well was.
Oh yeah, Akbar versus Thrawn. Fish stick versus blue Smurf guy. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for that. Apparently, it's gonna be like a key battle. So let's see what it is. Could it be? Has the Battle of Jakku already happened during this timeline? No. Okay.
Oh no, sorry, it has.
It has. Yeah. Right.
That was
the Empire's
after,
gone.
And this is 5 years after.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So who knows what this could be, and this could set up the movie that Dave Filoni is.
I mean, I think that's the intention. Yeah. But I mean, that's pretty much everything that's just recently happened. That's recently about to happen. So, yeah. Any closing thoughts from you, Michael,
about the Star Wars stuff, or
anything,
just everything?
Anything.
No, not well. At least not on the Star Wars front. But again, this is such a. I mean, we started the podcast how many years ago? Well, at least when you brought me on board.
Almost 5 years.
Almost 5 years ago. So.
Is that right? Yeah.
And
4 or 5 years.
We've always talked about doing an episode in the Chicago studio and then one in the Melbourne studio, and we've fulfilled that. We've done that. We've filmed on both sides, and it's just it feels like we've tightened the screws here, and we're like, yep, like, all right, we're all set. So here I am reporting live from the Australian studio, and it's just, oh man, it's just so cool. It's cool to finally do it and be here and record another live action podcast episode with you where we're not streaming. It's like, man, this is so cool that we get to like shake hands right in front of the camera, and just like, yeah, this is great. Like, there's no audio delay. It's just me and you chatting it up. So I love that. So I wish we could do this as often as we could, but this is a rarity. But in those rarities, that's when we appreciate it the most. So just saying, this is a great opportunity. So if you're like, man, they sound really good right now, it's because we're together in person. So again, such a milestone for us to do something like this. And we hadn't podcasted in ages, but we were like, we need to do an episode together while we're in Australia. So here we are. This is awesome. I just can't get over how crazy this is.
No, absolutely. I echo all of that. It's a great milestone, something we've wanted to do for a long time. And I mean, on the podcast front, it's been 18 months just about since we've last done one. So it's been a minute. We don't really know what the go is going forward. We're definitely interested in doing stuff, but obviously we've got a lot of other factors to deal with before we can commit to that. But I'd say you can expect some random pods here and there, and hey, maybe one day we'll be back on a bit more of a consistent basis. But hope everyone enjoyed this episode in the meantime. Obviously, like we just talked about, there's some exciting stuff coming. Soak Season 2, Mole Show, the movies, Celebration, LA, which, I mean, we're already, keen for that and set to go. So that'll be awesome. But, like you said, it's good to be here. And it's just fun to be on the pod again. Obviously, I'm sure there's not going to be a million people watching this, but the few that do, I'm sure will be excited to see us back behind the mic. So, yeah.
And I just want to acknowledge all the people that have supported this podcast throughout the years, and all the people that leave comments to this day being like, oh, I miss you guys. I want to hear your take on this, and this. But we gave it to you. Yeah. But yeah, like Ari said, this is definitely not the last time you're hearing from us. Just we're in a phase in our life where right now everything's like overwhelming with work and everything, and then our schedules literally we will go like sometimes weeks without talking because our schedules are so different.
Yeah.
So
and we live on the other side of the world.
And it's like
doesn't help.
The small window that we have of opportunity is gone because it's overtaken by other things. And then when we do get an opportunity, sometimes we just want to call, pick up our conversation or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of tough, but I appreciate everyone hanging in there and just wanting more Star Wars Exchange because, well, we're gonna give it to you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate everyone for sure. And I mean, we watched one of our old episodes, which we didn't release, but
the Forbidden one,
that was recorded 3.5 years ago. So it's like, just to think, well, it's come a long way from now till then.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. But that just about wraps it up for today. Obviously, do all the socials. Follow us on Instagram, all Star Wars _exchange. We're around. All the links are there. So do that. Thumbs up, 5-star rating. We always appreciate all that stuff. But yeah, until next time, whenever that is, may the Force be with you, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Adios.